Hello and welcome back. This is Horror Infiltrated. I think my all-time favorite horror movie might just be An American Werewolf in London. Not just for the epic special effects, although this movie did pave the way for all transformation scenes in the future werewolf movies to come, but for the unique perspectives that the camera itself affords us in the movie. If you've ever seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's scenes where you get the victim's point of view and it's just this agonizing, what's gonna happen, tense moment. But you also get the werewolf's perspective. You get to see as he's coming up on his victims, as, he's doing these horrible things. And I don't know, it affords us a unique perspective, and I really enjoy that. And it also kind of hits on the desperation of the situation of being a werewolf. There's no control anymore. I mean, I've always gone crazy for werewolf movies. It doesn't matter what werewolf movie it is, even if it's a god-awful movie. If there's a werewolf in it, I am going to see it. I'm not sure why. I love wolves. It's like my spirit animal, so maybe that has something to do with it. But there's something about werewolves, right? What is it about werewolves that captivates audiences and gets our hearts pumping with fear and excitement? Maybe it's the fear of the monster lurking in our own hearts. Good versus evil is a struggle that's been written about since people first ever put pen to paper. And I mean, there's no need to ask why. We know by now that we are all perfectly capable of both good and evil. Sometimes we might fear ourselves in certain situations and what we're capable of doing. Maybe we fear the remnants of wild savagery that still beats in our hearts. Still there, just under the surface. Sometimes I find myself wishing I could just give up control of my life and run off into the wilderness. It's an exciting prospect at times, especially when life gets too hectic or boring with bills and work and yada yada yada. But at the same time, it can create a huge fear of the unknown. That tends to be the biggest fear that people have. Maybe it simply boils down to a fear of monsters. I mean, who in their right mind wouldn't be afraid of the Wolfman charging after them on some moonlit road? But, on the other hand, maybe werewolves also symbolize a complete loss of control. In today's society, we're all about control, keeping control of ourselves, keeping control of our households, our everything. Maybe that's what we truly fear, is losing that control over our lives. And it's more than that. It pushes it even further to, like in the situation of a werewolf, you're losing control of your body and your mind. It's like you're turning against yourself. There is so much to fear about becoming a werewolf. Or, obviously there's a lot to fear about being eaten by one too. But the transformation scene in An American Werewolf in London captures all of those fears, and you really get to see the desperation on the main character's face, and crying out for help and all this mess, and really there's nothing that can stop it. There's no one that can help him. In essence, he is the greatest victim of this tale, and in the end there was only ever going to be one way to gain control back. For those of you who have not seen the movie, I encourage you to please go and watch it. I promise you will not be disappointed. Throughout history, monsters have been usually created for fiction and lore to serve some kind of symbolic purpose. But if you really sit back and look at the tons of reports and sightings and countless stories passed down through generation after generation, you start to wonder, are these monsters really just these simple characters in myth and fable? Or is there more truth to these stories than we would like to admit in our, scientific reasoning era? In my limited experience with the world, the truth is usually scarier than the myth. Until next time, stay scared.